I don't know too many people that do.
It depends on the restaurant and the weight.
Now, I will say this. Mr. Jones and I remember this. Now, I got a good story for folks, and I'm pretty good at this storytelling once in a while because it's actually not stories, it's truth. Now, we did tip Chuck very well, and us being the rowdy bunch that we were, if you've ever been to Bickford's, knew that we were constantly in trouble with someone there. And I remember, breaking things.
Or as I call it, making friends.
Right. I had given a certain backyard wrestler an elbow drop off a table, and as I was doing this elbow drop, my foot slipped and went through the bar room's window. And Chuck, rest his soul, came out and said, "You are banned from here for life." Now, that wasn't so because I showed up the next day and he gave me a table. So that tells you how, if gratuity, if you're really... gratitude goes a long way.
Getting back to that, how much of that was a show? Because think of it. If you look around every single night, you always saw different people there, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I could tell you the story about Bickford. In fact, I'll tell you the story about Bickford's where I went in there on Halloween night. The guy that I was with, Ed, excellent guy, not myself, another Ed, was not a pretty guy. He was an even uglier woman because he dressed in drag that evening.
Nice.
He was in the men's room and was hit on by some intoxicated individual.
Oh. So
okay.
Someone thought he was a party woman.
Sounds about right.
So that's just giving you an indication of the caliber of people that were in there. When you're standing next to someone dressed in drag and they're like asking you for a date, that was a typical person that would be at Bickford's. So as long as you made it sound good that, hey, I'm throwing him out because he did something stupid, it scared everyone else. So reality was you weren't kicked out because you were dropping a couple $100 there a week.
And the weird thing is if you went to Bickford's during the day, it was all elderly people and kind of nice, senior citizens having a breakfast buffet.
At night, that place was scary.
Yeah, and then after midnight, it was like pure hedonism. It was literally night and day.
I went in there. I don't know how many times I've said this, but I'll say it again. I used to work at a strip club. And I used to leave the strip club, and we would pick a restaurant somewhere that was open late. And I went in there with myself, someone who made me look small. It's not really easily done, but this guy towered over me, and I could stand in his shadow, and his shadow, I think, weighed 50 pounds.
An impressively large man.
Exactly. And we walked in there, me, him, and I want to say about half of the girls that were working that night.
Where was I? Why wasn't I there?
You weren't around at that point.
Yet.
We were in elementary school.
Still, why wasn't I there? I should have been there.
That was an old slam. I'll give you credit on that one. That was good.
That was pretty slick.
But we walked in there, and we took up probably, I want to say about 4 or 5 tables. Now, these guys from high school that never talked to me, they wouldn't give me the time of day. They were on the soccer team. They were like jocks and whatever, and I was not. Well, miraculously, these guys remembered who I was, and they wanted to come chat with me because of the entourage that were following myself. And, well, long story short, Chuck, thankfully, ran interference for us, actually walked over to the table and said to these guys, hey, stop bothering them. You got to. If you're not sitting at your table, next time I come around, I'm kicking you out. So, God rest Chuck. He did me huge favors over there. Of course, do you remember the nightclub that was behind?
I do. We were banned from that quite often. We do.
Well, miraculously, at 2:00 in the morning, drinks would still come out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I partook in several of those drinks as well. I can't, they can't press charges against anyone now because that place is long gone. But these are just some of the stories. I mean, I could scare you with some of the amount of alcohol stories that we have. And I have a witness sitting 10 feet away of the debauchery that used to go on. But before I get myself into any trouble, I think we should do some music there, Mr. Jones.
Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but we are 1 hour, 72 minutes, and 4,328 seconds away from 2016. You are tuned in to Rhode Island Free Radio, online at rifreeradio.org, and over the airwaves on AM 1320 WARA Attleboro. It's Tony Jones's Rockin' New Year's Eve broadcast. The local music continues now. We'll hear from Melissa Bella Rosa. Here's Moving On.
Well, cocktails out in Buckeye Lake. For my family and friends, don't be late. Hanging out in the sun, do it all day long. Slamming cocktails out in Buckeye Lake. Take me down south where the blue agave grows.
Blue Agave, the name of that one. Some Blindside Thunder right here on Tony Jones's Rockin' New Year's Eve broadcast. Before that, a little Melissa Bella Rosa, some new Melissa Bella Rosa, Moving On. The name of that track. We are 1 hour, 65 minutes, and 3,898 seconds away from the new year. Thank you for tuning in, hanging out with us on Rhode Island Free Radio, online at rifreeradio.org, and over the airwaves on AM 1320 and WARA out of Attleboro. 10:55, 55 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock. DJ Psycho Eddie has the floor. Eddie, good evening.
Tony, thank you again. Again, Chuckles, Nurse Misery, Tony, Dave, the unnamed person in the corner who is my ride home. I can't really mention her name because she will definitely use a phone book on me later. Recreationally or otherwise, we're not really sure at this point, but we'll figure that out as the night goes on. The one thing I definitely wanted to bring out is the local music. Definitely want to support it. I've been a supporter of local music for the last 20 years. There's been over 400 bands, 500 bands at this point. I don't even know. I lost count. But I've worked with local bands for so long. It's actually hard-pressed for me to tell the difference when it's a local band and when it's not a local band because everything. I constantly play CDs in my truck because the radio doesn't work because my truck's a POS.
And terrestrial radio sucks these days, but I digress from that. But we were just talking off the air about a band who came through town, and they played to a handful of people as if there were thousands of people there. That's what separates a good local band, in my opinion.
Well, the band you're talking about, the Waymer, came from Japan, somewhere in Japan. Now, these people are traveling thousands, literally, thousands of miles to come play in Rhode Island on a Tuesday night, and they played it like it was Saturday night at the Civic Center to a packed house. They put on a hell of a show. And there are a lot of bands that don't get the concept of, I don't care how many people are out there, you play your butt off because these people that are watching you on a Thursday are going to tell their friends that when you play on a Saturday, you got to go check them out. That's if I can give any bands, any performers a piece of advice is always play like you are at a packed house at some major venue. I don't care if it's Manchester 65, Simon's, Fat. I don't care if you're at the Dunk, wherever you are. Play your backside off. Do your best because you don't know who you're going to impress. I don't know if I can sum that up any better. Do you want to add into that there, Chuckles?
Well, it's not a big shocker, but I have performed in front of 2 people or 3 people. Being an evil clown, you don't have a very large audience of folks that want to come down and see you. And he's right. You really got to perform like it's like there's 1,000 people in front of you because those 2 people, they multiply.
They might book you for your next gig.
They